Hello and welcome to day 3 of our little trip. After leaving our hotel, we crossed the bridge that connects the island of Krk with the Croatian mainland and were rewarded with fantastic weather and excellent views. We decided to follow the coastal road southwards for a while before heading further inland. The coastal road was already very busy in the early hours of the morning, so we had to keep passing convoys of cyclists and other road users. As my bike has slightly less horsepower than Manuel's, he always had to wait for me a little bit when overtaking. Nevertheless, you can ride really comfortably in Europe with around 70 horses. No reason to buy a huge GS for me personally. And so we continued our journey along the coast. Inland, the vegetation has changed noticeably. We were also a lot higher by now, and the air was also becoming much cooler. It looked more like Central Europe and not so much like Southern Europe, if you know what I mean. The weather was also kind to us, and so we still had excellent visibility in this fantastic looking region. Oh, and of course, there were always a few crazy bikers who seemed to be in a lot more of a hurry than we were. After riding through this wonderful landscape, unlike all the other motorcycle travelers on YouTube who ride through Croatia, we didn't go to the Plitvice lakes. On the one hand, there must be thousands of tourists there, and on the other, our actual intermediate destination was the border to another country, Bosnia. The plan was simply to ride a bit through Bosnia and then end up back in Croatia. Neither of us had ever been to Bosnia before, so we had no real idea what it would look like there. Unsurprisingly, the landscape didn't really change. The only noticeable difference was that instead of small churches, there were mosques in the villages. Oh, and one more thing. The Bosnian seems to stick to the speed limits for the most part. This is a completely new experience in the Balkan states. For whatever reason, this is the case in Bosnia. Of course, we also got lost here and there and almost crashed into this unannounced former border crossing to Croatia. As this was not a border crossing we were looking for, we rode back a bit and continued our search. To be honest, I have to say that Bosnia was relatively boring in terms of riding. However, this was definitely due to the fact that we rode through the area completely without a plan. We also wanted to be back in Croatia by the evening, as it was our second last day of riding. I'm sure there are fantastic routes in Bosnia, but unfortunately not where we were traveling. However, we have decided that we want to see a bit more of the country next time, as this impression was simply too short for us. We discovered at least one more highlight. By luck we came across this beautiful river called Diuna, or Una, or Yuna, or whatever, which could have come straight out of a fantasy movie. After a short stop at what is probably the most beautiful river in the country, we crossed it over the next bridge and continued towards the next border with Croatia, as we wanted to ride a few more kilometers in the direction of home that day. Back in Croatia, our only goal for the moment was to simply keep riding north, as we didn't know where we would sleep that night and we wanted to avoid using the highway on the last day. Otherwise, it would have been too far to get home. We even found a few more bends that made the ride a lot more fun. point, we came to a slightly demolished town. At least the houses that were not directly in the town center were partially damaged, as you can see. In the center, however, there was a nice park and a petrol station, which we immediately used to refuel. We then booked a hotel a little further north, as the sun was already relatively low, so we still had one last stretch to cover before we could stuff our stomachs with beer and some food. On the way to the hotel, we even discovered an old tank memorial from the war. Shortly before sunset, we made it safely to our overnight stay. I hope you liked the video and thank you for watching. See you soon.